In this video, we're going to show you how to install a flex hose on your Volvo XC60 located behind your rear wheels. Using a 19mm socket, let's loosen and remove the studs. Grab that wheel, remove it. Now right here is our flex hose. It attaches to the back of the caliper and then up here to the hard line. Now we need to go ahead and disconnect this side here as well as this one. We're going to start with the lower one here at the caliper. We're going to use a pair of plastic hose pliers here. And what this is going to do is going to pinch off and stop fluid from floating through or flowing through. I'm going to pinch that. I want to go ahead and loosen and remove this bolt. Now you are going to lose some fluid, so make sure you have a catch can or a bucket underneath. You can use an 11mm or a 7/16 on this. Now when you remove this here, there's going to be two copper washers. At least there should be. There's going to be one on each side of this junction block right here. So there's going to be one on the bolt head side and one between this and the caliper itself. Now there's a little pin here that locks in. You want to remove this bolt, and this is called a banjo bolt. So remove that, and we have one washer right there. Remove the bolt, and we need to remove the washer off of that because we're going to be reusing that bolt. You can use a pocket screwdriver if yours isn't popping off. You can use a pair of pliers, whatever you need to go ahead and separate that, but there it is. So remove that. Make sure that this bolt is clean. We're going to install one of the newly supplied copper washers. Go ahead and grab the new hose, feed that through. Install the second newly supplied copper washer. Make sure that the section here on your caliper is clean. Line up the new one and go ahead and get that banjo bolt started. Run that in. Now I'm just going to gently snug this. Now if you follow this up, we have the hard line right here where it connects to our flex hose and it anchors onto this bracket right here. Now we did spray this down with some rust penetrant to allow that to soak in, and we're going to use an 11mm wrench. Now key things to pay attention to when you're doing this. You can see when I'm turning that, the hard line is moving. You don't want that to happen. So what you need to do is hold that hard line and you need to break this free. And I was able to break mine free. If you can't break it free, continue to spray it with some rust penetrant, let it soak, do what you need to do to get this free spinning. If not, it's going to twist the hard line inside and break it, and you're going to end up having to replace a hard line as well, and that is much more complicated to do. So make sure you have your catch can underneath. You are going to continuously lose fluid from this here because you can't pinch the hard line. So make sure you have a catch can underneath. And there's a little clip here. It's a retainer clip. Use a screwdriver and just kind of pop that off. And there it is right there. It's a locking clip. And go ahead and pull this out. Now when you pull this out, you want to take note, there's a flat side right here. And then the rest has a spot where you could hold it with pliers or something like that if you need to keep it from spinning to lock it into place. I'm going to go ahead and set this aside. Go ahead and bring your flex hose up. And we have that large flat section right there. Going to feed that through. The reason why I say that is that normally these holes are keyed, means that that flat section there will line up and twist into that steel plate. So go ahead and push that into place. Go ahead and install your clip here. Go ahead and grab that hard line, feed that in. And go ahead and get this started. You definitely want to make sure you get that started by hand first. You don't want to start it with a wrench, because if you cross thread this, you're going to end up into a pickle right there. And then go ahead and snug that down. Once it gets bottomed out, got to give it a little bit more. Wiggle that hard line. Make sure it's nice and tight. At that point there, go ahead and spray it down with some spray solvent. Clean up any of that residual brake fluid that had leaked out. Don't forget to get the caliper side. I'm going to go ahead and torque down this bolt to 33.9 foot-pounds. Now on the back side of our caliper here, we have a bleeder screw. We need to go ahead and open this up to purge out any of the air that was interjected into the system when we replaced this hose here. Now this here on this Volvo is a 3/8, a little bit rusty. And tap that on there. We did spray it down with some rust penetrant. $10mm was just a little bit too sloppy on there. We don't want to strip this. We're going to be careful with this and gently work this to loosen it. Now I'm going to loosen it and I'm going to tighten it back up to make sure that it's moving nice and easy. Now that we have loosened our bleeder screw, I'm going to go ahead and transition into a wrench. And what we're going to do is we're going to crack this open. You can see we have fluid starting to come out here. What we want to do is make sure that we get any air bubbles out of this here. Have a few small air bubbles coming out. And at this point here, we don't have any more air bubbles coming out. We can go ahead and tighten this down. And this is what we call a gravity bleed. Oh, we have a couple more, actually a couple air bubbles coming out still. Make sure you give it ample time to go ahead and purge any air bubbles out. And go ahead and tighten that down. Good, spray that down with some spray solvent and clean up any of that residual brake fluid. And then we'll go ahead and wipe that down. Now, in some cases, your bleeder screw might have a little rubber cap on there. It's not critical to the operation, however, it does help protect that bleeder screw. Ours doesn't have it, so we don't have one to put back on there, but if yours had the rubber cap, you can go ahead and pop that on there. Now you want to go ahead and hop into the vehicle. You want to pump up the brakes. Make sure that brake pedal feels nice and firm. Start up the vehicle, pump up the brake again. If the pedal feels soft and mushy, you want to go ahead and repeat the process here and bleed out any more air that might be in the system. If that doesn't work, you want to go ahead and proceed to the brake bleeding process for this vehicle. Now, underneath the hood here, you want to go ahead and locate your master cylinder reservoir, and that is right here at the base of your wiper blades, right in this cowl area. Here's the cover, and it has an O and a C. Close, you turn it to the right clockwise, and open counterclockwise. Spin and pop it off, set it aside. Now, underneath, you're going to find the cap right here. Before you open that, you want to use some spray solvent and clean up the top. You don't want to get any debris inside this here when you open it. So do the best you can. Run your finger around inside there and clean that up. Clean off the cap itself. Get any debris off of that. Once you feel confident that it's nice and clean, go ahead and grab that cap and twist it counterclockwise. Ours is on there pretty tight. I'm going to go ahead and use a pair of pliers and gently, and I say gently, grab that and twist that just to break that seal free. Go ahead and open that up and pull it up and out. Now, if you notice when I pull this up, see this rubber cap right here, this little rubber boot? That's usually going to do that if their fluid is low. So with a clean finger, you can go ahead and boop, just pop that right in. Just like that. Make sure that is seated and it's flush. Down inside here, you want to make sure that that is filled up. Once again, I'm going to clean up around the edge here. Now, even though we did lose a little bit of brake fluid out back, and it wasn't a lot, you can see here that our master cylinder reservoir is still full. It has a little max right on the inside of the lip there, and our fluid is right on top. So at this point here, I'm calling this good. If it is below, if that fluid is low, go ahead and use a DOT4 fluid. It'll actually tell you right on the cover here, use only DOT4 fluid. So you want to make sure that you use that. It is specific for this application. If you do need to add fluid, just top it off to the top of that ridge where it says max. Good, install that cover. Make sure that is good and tight. You don't have to use pliers. It should only be hand tight. Install the cover. There's 2 tabs. Simply line those up with the notches on the vehicle and then turn it clockwise and secure it. Go ahead and grab your wheel. Line that up on the hub. What I prefer to do is take the stud, put it inside the socket, line up your wheel. Go ahead and get that started. Once you get one started, you can normally go ahead and position the wheel to get the others going. Once you have all these started, I'm going to go ahead and gently snug these down. Let's go ahead and torque down our lug nuts to 103 foot-pounds. Now, when doing this here, it's best if we do a star or crisscross pattern. And you're all set. Now underneath the hood here, you're going to go ahead and locate the master cylinder reservoir underneath this cap right here. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab a drip mat and put it here because we don't want to drip fluid on our engine compartment when we're servicing this. Now go ahead and twist this counterclockwise. And you lift this up and you're disengaging these two tabs on the cowl cover here. Go ahead and set that aside. Your cover is right here for the master cylinder reservoir. We're going to continue by using some spray solvent and we're going to clean off the top. And we want to do this because we don't want to get any debris or dirt inside that reservoir when we open this up. So clean off the cover and do the best you can to clean up around the edges. Next, go ahead and open up that cover, grab that, turn it counterclockwise, twist it all the way until it comes off, and lift it up, and we're going to set that aside. Now inside here is the fluid. What we want to do is we're going to use our suction tool here. You can use a turkey baster, but this here we find it works best because it has a long, narrow snout. In most cases, you can get down inside. Some of these have filters inside or screens. You can only get so far in there, but we want to go ahead and evacuate as much fluid as we can. And then we're going to put that into a container here. This does not have a removable screen, so all we can do is evacuate however far we can get this port into. And that is pretty much it. The reason why we're doing this here is we want to try and evacuate as much of that old dirty fluid as possible. Let's go ahead and remove all this stuff here, set that aside. Next, we'll go ahead and top this off with some fresh fluid. I'm going to use a small funnel here because I don't want to drip it anywhere. And according to the cover here, it says use a DOT 4 only. So go ahead and grab the appropriate brake fluid. And then we want to go ahead and watch this and we're going to fill it up. Now it's okay if we overfill this a little bit because we are going to be bleeding the system. And we're going to be draining a whole bunch of fluid out as we burp the system. Once you have this filled up, go ahead and grab that cap, spin that back on. We're going to leave all this open. We're going to keep our funnel here because we're going to be filling this up later on. Let's continue to our brake bleeding process. Now we're going to go ahead and start at our left front wheel, proceed to the right front, and then to the left rear, driver's side rear, and then finishing up on the right rear. Now we're going to go ahead and start our brake bleeding process. We have someone inside the vehicle that's going to assist us in doing this job. Now we're starting over at the left front wheel, and right here you're going to go ahead and locate your bleeder screw. Now on this particular vehicle, it's an 11 millimeter, and we have our bottle here to go ahead and capture the fluid that we're going to evacuate from the system. And what we're going to do is we're going to have that person inside the vehicle. They're going to pump up the brakes about 3 to 4 times and hold pressure. We're going to open this up, burp out any air or dirty fluid that is in there. We're going to close it, and then we're going to let them release that pedal. And we're going to repeat this process a few times. So let's go ahead and do that. If you could please pump it up. Now keep in mind, it's always good to be wearing safety glasses and gloves when performing a job like this. I'm going to go ahead and crack this open. I'm going to seal it up. Good, pump it up. Now inside, they're going to let me know when that pedal hits the floor so I can go ahead and close this. Now we're holding. Snug it and go ahead. You can see we're not getting air bubbles here, but we do have some residual dirty fluid. We're going to do one more time. Open that. And we're going to close that up. Go ahead and pull this off. Now on your vehicle, you may have noticed that you had a rubber cap on this bleeder screw here. Ours came in without it. But if you had that rubber cap, just simply pop that off, perform this job, and then you can go ahead and put that on. Now at this point, we're going to go ahead and spray this with some solvent. That's going to go ahead and get rid of any brake fluid that might have been dribbling out there. We're going to go ahead and repeat this process. We're going to go over to the passenger side. We're going to do it over there, and then we're going to top off the master cylinder and make sure that fluid is topped off up top. Now let's go ahead and top off the master. You just want to wait a couple seconds here, make sure that the fluid itself levels off. Now that that's settled, we're good. We're topped off to the max line there. Install the cap. Now that we've wrapped up topping off the master cylinder, here we are at the driver's side rear wheel. Now on our back bleeder screw here on this particular vehicle, we found that our 3/8 wrench actually fit. It's a little bit smaller than the front. I'm going to go ahead and put this on here. I'm going to continue that process. Go ahead and pump it up. Pump it up. And go ahead. And one more. You can see that we have good clean fluid coming through and no more air bubbles. Make sure that's good and snug. Pop off our hose here. Don't forget to clean this up. I'm going to go ahead and continue this process over to the right rear. Once we're done at that right rear, we're going to go ahead and top off that master cylinder one more time. Now let's go ahead and top off the master. You just want to wait a couple seconds here, make sure that the fluid itself levels off. Now that that's settled, we're good. We're topped off to the max line there. Install the cap. Take the cover, line up your two tabs with the notches then turn it clockwise to lock it and secure it.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.